Okay. CPQ basically it stands for configuring, pricing and quoting. It comes into picture when you are into selling a lot of different products which are very complex. Let's take a scenario of telecommunication industry when they are selling their phones, they are selling SIM cards, they are selling other accessories as well, they are selling data and all these things. So any organization which is into selling more complex products, that's when CPQ comes into picture. So Salesforce CPQ, they acquired SteelBrick. It's been into the market since a long time now. Earlier it was called SteelBrick, now it's called Salesforce CPQ, and it is one of the best CPQ product out there for small medium business. So this is what Salesforce CPQ is. These are the underlying pillars of Salesforce CPQ. We have products, so any company which is into selling, that's where CPQ comes in. Configuring those products so that if you are selling this product, the person should be able to see this product along with that. That's where all these things, an administrator, a developer can configure in the back end. You can generate the quotes very easily. So a lot of times it happens that deals are getting lost because of a lot of to and fro between the sales rep and the customer. Generating the quote without a CPQ system, it's pretty typical. Using CPQ, that's where all these challenges are being sorted. Contracts come into picture when you are selling to a B2B client. You have to, whatever you are selling, you have to get it contracted. And when you are sometimes selling for a long duration of time. So for example, let's take a scenario of telecommunication industry. When you are purchasing a SIM card, it's not just for 1 month, it's for a running period of time. So you get your bill every month, right? So that's where your renewals come into picture. Again, these are a few features which we have in Salesforce CPQ, guided selling. These are more for admin side of it, how they can configure all these features to explore the more out of the CPQ. So we have guided selling, you can configure your product catalog in the back end, you can do a lot of discounting when there are a lot of discounting involved when you are selling to direct B2B customer. Sometimes the customer doesn't agree with the discount given at first. There are to and fro calls. This is just a small screenshot of how the product configuration is going to look like. So if you see, this is a product, we have some different price book of a product. So for example, if a single company, let's take an example of Vodafone. If Vodafone is selling into different countries altogether, their prices of the SIM card might be different in UK, they might be different in Spain, they might be different in US, right? So we can have, or using CPQ, we can configure different prices on the different regions. That's the capability of CPQ. And yeah, like we discussed, you can sell multiple things together in a bundle. That's a capability. Like we discussed, different prices, different people, different places. Prices are getting varied based on the region, person whom is selling, the customer segment, all these things. So yeah. Let's take a scenario when you are purchasing multiple items from a particular company. You want more discount. That's where the volume-based discounting comes into picture. You're saying, I'm purchasing these many of units, I want more discounts. This is how, using CPQ, a team or a company configure in the back end that, let's say if the person is purchasing from 2 to 6 units, the discount automatically applied should be 2. Just to let you guys know, this is all configurable in the backend. You don't need to write a code and all those things behind the backend for all these things. Any administrator can do and set up the org in such a way that these will be live. So we were talking about templates. Generating a template or generating a contract once you have sold to get the customer sign the document and all these things. It's a pretty typical part when you can. Organization takes a lot of time in generating a template, contract. CPQ provides the capability. You can generate the template only once. Administrator can do that, and the sales rep don't have to worry about it. They just have to select the template. It will be there in this format. It's just an example format. Guided selling. That is one of the most underlying feature of Salesforce CPQ. Sometimes your sales reps don't know what they are selling. They need some help. That's where the guided selling comes into picture. Like this. For example, if they are selling, let's say, iPhone, they might want to sell earphones along with it, something like that. So you can configure this screen so that sales rep gets the help. They don't need to talk to the manager or supervisor again and again what I need to sell with this. Multi-dimensional quoting. So it's one of the idea when we are talking about specifically B2B segment, when a business is selling to another business. If you are selling a product or if you are selling a service for a long running period of time, let's say 3 years, 5 years, and you want the contract to be generated for 5 years, so that's pretty easy. What CPQ helps over here in such a way is, let's say if you are a running customer, on the 3rd year you want a little bit more discount. That's how you can configure it over here. In the 3rd year 3 over here we can set the discount. That's how. Contract amendment and renewals. So like we talked, you can contract it, you can renew the already sold product like a particular services. For example, we purchase Netflix, we purchase any other services, any video streaming website. If you want to renew it for the next year of time, you can do all these things. So yeah, that was a little bit introduction about as to what Salesforce CPQ is, what are its few capabilities. Now what I'm going to show you or present you over here is a specific use case to a customer. We did it back there for a customer who was already using the Salesforce CPQ for selling. What I'm going to present you over here is how it can be used for the services industry as well. So the problem that the customer was facing was they were having Salesforce CPQ already. The sales rep were pretty good with the Salesforce CPQ. The problem arises when, so this is a specific, let me show you before that. So what I'm going to show you right now is a specific use case to a customer who was into selling glasses. And they are not just smaller glasses, they are glasses for the commercial buildings. Have you seen shopping malls? There are lot bigger glasses installed over there, right? So the customer was selling the glasses. The main problem that they were facing was, selling was pretty easy, but installing those glasses to the customer site was getting into a lot of rejection of the deals. So this is the ideal picture, what it's gonna be. And this is the actual behind the picture, how those glasses are getting installed. What are the complexity behind? If you see, there are tracks and all these things. It's not pretty easy to install those glasses. So now coming back to our problem statement again, and the theme of the demo today. So like we discussed, the installation was causing a lot of revenue loss for the company. They were paying a lot to the Salesforce for installing their services. They were paying a lot of money to the Salesforce CPQ. They just wanted a technological solution so that the installers, the person who we see was actually doing the installation, how they can use the technology to their advantage and making the most out of the technology. So they were all the time on the remote side, they were talking with the customer, they were visiting the customer site. So they need some kind of technological tool when they can see what all the things they have to install, what are the complexities. And ultimately in the back end, they don't want to be doing the quotation again and again for huge projects. So for example, let's take a project of this hotel. If you were to install glasses in this hotel, there'll be like hundreds or thousands of the glasses to be installed, right? A person manually will take days to actually writing the quotation for that. How about we give a system in such a way that whatever is being sold by the sales team is already informed to the service team, and the service team or the installation team is able to charge the customer based on their pricing rule. So that's the agenda of this session, what I'm going to show you right now. These were the few problems which we identified. We interviewed all those installers, what are the challenges they were facing, how we could solve their issue. So these are the screenshots of the live demo which we are going to see in a few minutes. This is what we, how many of you are aware about the Salesforce communities? You guys have already used it, right? The best part is Salesforce CPQ is compatible with Salesforce community. We launched it on the community and the installers were using it on their mobile phone. so that even if they are on the customer side, they don't need to open or carry their laptop along. They were always having their mobile phone. Whatever details they are able to see over here were visible on their mobile phone. I'm going to show you how. So this is a typical pricing or calculation is going to be, we are going to see in the demo. It takes a lot of metrics to actually price the installation for a particular system. See, what we have seen over there, that was the desktop view, and this is out there the mobile view. Whatever they were able to do on the desktop, they are able to do everything the same on their mobile view as well. So yeah, we'll jump to the conclusion later on. First, let me quickly show you the demo. So this is the quotation of the Salesforce CPQ. Let's take a sales rep who is working on this quotation. I think there's a problem with the internet. So yeah, this is a sales quotation. The sales rep has talked with the customer wanted 2-3 different classes to be installed. This is the quotation for that. Let's see what all the details are or what all the products that are being sold to the customer. So what we are going to see over here is a line editor provided by Salesforce CPQ, using which you can do all these things. You can do pricing, you can do discounting, you can add more products, you can remove something, you can configure the product, that what's the specification of the product that is being sold to the customer. I think there's a pretty much problem with the internet. So yeah, what we are able to see here is SL60 and Cero. These are two different type of glasses. These are the name or category, you can say, of those glasses which were being sold to the customer. Like we have seen in the other picture, glasses cannot be installed directly. They need a few more things. They need a tracks on which they can rest it. They need sliders, how they can be folded, all these things. So by with installing a single glass, this is how the sales rep can configure how or what are the other items that needs to be sold with that glass. So here it is, fold flat, angle changes, like to change the angle, whether it is cornerless or not. But how sales rep can again modify it or configure it, let's see. Using this reconfigure lines button over here. Earlier, this was just a draft template, draft code which I was showing you. The sales rep was already working on it. Now, let's say he talked with the customer. He wants to add one more attribute to that quotation. How simply can he do that? There it is. So those 3 items which he had already selected are present over here, already ticked. Now let's say he wants the glasses to be swinging, right? So for swinging, he need to add a product for the swinging. He'll select it, he'll select the configuration how it's going to be swinging, so that these details can be passed on to the installers. And one more thing which is over here. If it is left swinging or right swinging, the price of the product might be a little less. But if you have to just imagine, hang a glass from top, there are a lot of additional complexity requires. In that case, the price might be a little high. So all these things or all these rules can be configured in the back end, that if it is a top swing, the price should be a little high. So let's say we are selecting top swings. Trust me guys, the CPQ really is not that slow. I think it's the problem with the internet connection. So at the end, I'll probably show you the statistics, how it actually helped the customer. You'll see the real number from one of the customers. There you go. In that glass, we now have a new child product called swinging, which also needs to be installed. Now, if you see the price is, let's say, 1500 euros. If the sales rep wants to, and let's say if it is a little more complex, and if sales rep at all wants to modify the price, he can just click on this pencil icon and change the price from 1500 to 1800 euros. There you go, the prices are getting updated in real time. So that's the beauty of this CPQ system. You have all the capabilities so that sales rep or the service rep don't have to focus on doing the manual work, doing the computer work. They can actually focus on selling the item. Once it is done, once it is sorted, he'll probably click on save. Now he has saved the quotation. Now he wants to send it out to the customer. He had a call with the customer agreed to the quotation, they had a word. Now let's say how it's going to help the service team over there in the back end. So the quotation status moved from draft to accepted. Once the sales quote is accepted, automatically these details will be provided to the installers, that what is the system that they are going to install. And for them, they don't need to see what is the price of the system which is being sold. They just need to see what is the price they are going to charge. So I'm going to show you, okay. It is accepted. Now, like we have seen, I'm going to show you the community layout which was exposed to those installers. So automatically a quote, this is the Javier we are talking about, one of the installers. Automatically the quote has been sent to the Javier that this is the installation that you are going to do. All the required details which installer should see are being populated for him to see. He should not be able to see the sales price of the system, but he should be able to see what all the system he needs to install. So this is the view for him. He can log into community. Now if he wants to modify a few things, again he'll be doing the same thing. So that's one more beauty of the system. You get the unified interface for the sales team and service team. So what we have observed from the past is sometimes it's pretty challenging for the customer to adopt to the new systems, because the people who are out there, they are not as brilliant as we are. We do all these things. They are little hesitant to the change. They are little hesitant to the new system. So if you have a unified interface for all the complete team, it's pretty easy for them to train with each other. They can learn from each other. So there you go. He is able to see all those two systems. But if you see, the prices earlier were into 30,000 euros or something. But for him, the cost of installation is somewhere going to be 7,000 euros, right? Where are these prices coming from? Prices are coming from the back end, when we have configured what is the price of a particular system to be installed for this particular installer. I'm going to show you just after this. Now let's say he wants to make a few tweaks. The installer is present on the customer site. He identified maybe there are a little more challenges. For installing the particular glass, let's say for installing swinging, it was a little tough, right? So he'll probably go and change the price from 90 euros to, let's say, 120 euros. There you go, the prices are updated in real time. Now, apart from just doing the installation, he might have to do a lot of labor. He might have to clean the place before installing the glass. He might have to travel to the customer site. So how he can charge for all those things, right? It's simple. He'll go to the quote, he'll click on add products. As soon as he will click on add products, he'll be presented with the options of all the products that he charges for, or he charges the customer for with his price book. So there you go. Let's say he did a little bit of waste disposal and he had to travel to the customer site. He'll select those two products. And he'll add those items to the quotation which he is going to charge the customer. I think it's going to take forever. He might not be able to send the quotation to the customer. So that was the actual problem. I think the internet went down, maybe. Can you please check? It shows connected. It's not working. So meanwhile we are facing those challenges, like why don't you guys tell me about your use case, where have you think was the need of the customer, you could have pitched that as a solution to the customer, or have you ever faced any kind of similar requirements over there, like any requirements from anybody? Yeah, please.
I have a question. So obviously CPQ is much more sophisticated than the standard products and the standard code templates that Salesforce offer. So what would be the main features or the main difference that when you're talking to a client and he's asking you for example, bundling, right? Is one of the things that you mentioned, more sophisticated code templates, right? These kind of different features that typically clients ask for that are not achievable with the standard, or at least not easily, with CPQ comes out of the box.
Right.
So you mentioned bundling, you mentioned sophisticated code templates. What other things make you say, okay, to the client, okay, to do that you need to go with CPQ. You can do that with.
Yeah, so I would say if a person or if a customer is into anything which is selling not just a single product, if you are, let's say, selling into pen, CPQ might not be a good solution for you. You can do this via standard Salesforce quotation feature, right? It's pretty good, capable enough. But now let's say you are into selling a stationery. You want to sell the copy, you want to sell pen, you want to sell maybe marker or whatever it is. You want to bundle all these items together. You want to sell them as a bundle. Similarly, if you have like thousands of different bundles based on the different customer you have. Let's say you have a customer. So what CPQ also enables you is you can actually segment the customer, and like definitely you might also have seen in your use cases that customers are being segmented based on their priority, based on their previous purchases. Some say it as gold, silver, or whatever it is. Based on all those segments, you need to provide more discounts, right? So that's where you can do all these things using CPQ. You can build some rules in the backend that if the quotation is being generated for a diamond level customer, automatically a 20% discount should be given to the customer. No need to take all those approvals. Nobody should need to apply all these things. That's one more feature. Like we have seen the other thing, volume discounting. That's one more capability. Nowadays, Salesforce CPQ has come up with a few items. One I would like to talk about is Docusign. So what Docusign does is, definitely you might not be doing it for the regular customer, but if you are selling to a business, if you are generating like let's say thousands of euros of quotation, right? You need to contract it, you need to get it signed from the customer. So Salesforce CPQ has a capability called Docusign for Salesforce, using which you can integrate it with your existing CPQ, whatever the template which you have generated using this system, you can send it to the customer. Customer signs back, it gets stored in the system. That's pretty easy to do, right? Next thing, there are some industries which I have seen in the past, which doesn't have the standard approval process. They have very complex approvals which are required for releasing a single quotation. Person like 10, 15 different people needs to sign for that, right? Or give the approvals for that. Using standard approval process, what we have seen is, let's say you and we too need to approve a single quotation, right? But until and unless you approve the quotation, I cannot do that, right? That's the standard Salesforce approval process. Salesforce CPQ provides an additional package called advanced approvals when you and I can approve parallelly, so that you don't have to wait up for me. The time to quotation is reduced. It's pretty more interesting, or it comes more interesting when there are like 10 different segments or 10 different departments who needs to approve one thing, right? That's where the actual ROI comes into picture. So that's how you can talk with your customer, that if this is your case, that's why you need CPQ. And like what we have seen right now, maybe they are into selling products, but maybe in future if they are into servicing as well, you can use the same technological tool for the services as well. So that's where the beauty comes in. That's the idea behind this presentation, that when it comes to CPQ, people think, oh, it's all about selling. I don't need to bother about services, or I might need some other tool for services. But that's the beauty of the system. You can use the same technological solution for servicing as well, like we've seen. I'm going to show you a few more things. I think the presentation has stopped. Yeah, that's fine. I'll try. So there it is. He is able to add those as a line item to his quotation. Now let's say if he wants complexity of travel 0, disposal, let's say $50 he wants to charge more, the prices are updated in here. Let's say he traveled like 10 miles to the customer site. He'll just quickly go and change from 1 to 10 miles. And there you go, the prices are updated. Everything is done, he'll quickly save the template, he'll send it to the customer. So that was the whole demo. Now, for you guys who are the developers, admins or consultants, how things work in the actual CPQ, I'm quickly going to show you how easy it is for a particular person, consultant, developer to configure the system or configure the product which you have seen right now. So all you do is, so one more beauty of this system is Salesforce CPQ use the standard products, standard price book, so you don't have to deal with different objects altogether. They are just the standard one. Let's try to configure a new system. Earlier we have seen SL60, let's try to configure a system called SL75, which is another kind of class, have maybe a little different complexities. Product family would be system. If you want to give some code, there you go. It is active. This is the description. Now, this is how you ask or how you configure that this product, it's not a simple product. It is configurable, or it requires a little bit of configuration. You can do it just by selecting the value is pick list. Whether it is configuration is allowed, whether it is all the time required. So let's say for this product, it is required. What should be the event? It should be always, or should it be while just adding to the product? Always, I would say. There are a few more other features for pricing and all those things when you are into contracting and all those things, but since we are a little running short on time, I'm just going to show you how easy it is to configure a single product. So now a flat product has been created. Now we want to, configure it, or we want to make the configuration in the back end. Let's say this product, for this product we want to sell it along with, first of all, as soon as you create a product or add a product, you have to add the pricing as well. So this is the standard feature of Salesforce. Let's say 2,000 euros is the price list. Now, let's say we have different sales reps, different people doing the sales. Maybe I'm assigned to a different territory. Somebody else is assigned to a different territory. The prices should be region based. So that's where we can configure the same product into different price book. We have 4 installers or 4 sales reps. We will add them into their price books. So let's say he wants to sell it on 2,500 euros. Now let's see how we can configure the additional options or additional products which are to be sold with that class. Like we have seen earlier, we had a list of options, right? Fold flat, angle changes and all these things. Now let's see how easy it is to configure. So here we have to select the optional SKU. We'll probably select maybe fold flat. Option number 1, quantity by default should be 1 because 1 class, 1 fold flat. Whether you want this quantity to be editable or not, this is also you can configure. So this is sometimes required when your product structure is configured in such a way that you have to write some additional rules that if 1 class is sold, you should be only able to sell 1 fold flat. The person should not be able to sell 2 fold flats. So this is where you can, using configurable UI or using configuration, you can block the sales rep from doing the unrequired things. You can select the type. What type helps us is whether it is a component should be added by default with the product, whether it is an additional accessory which customer might or might not like. So all these things you can configure the products in such a way. I'll quickly finish. additional discount and all these things. There are whole lot of fields out there you just need to add to the layout. Depending on your use case, you can configure them in such a way. So now let's see how actually the quotation is in the backend, or how actually sales rep can add it. I'm just going to fill up a few more few details. Telefonica he is selling to, let's say it is primary. Quickly save. Now let's try to add the products over here. Again, you have to do the same thing, clicking on that button called edit lines. That's where he'll be presented with this UI called line editor. So now, right now, there are no items on it. Let's say he wants to go and click on add products. So I think, let me check. I forgot the name of the product which we just configured. SL75, right? Okay, cool. Let me see whether we have activated it or not. Oh yes. I think. Oh, okay. One second. So yeah, the product which we configured was in a different price book, and the code that we have created, it's in a different price book. So we'll not be able to see that product until and unless that product is entered in the price book that we are creating the quote in. So let's see, the quote is in sales price book, right? So let me just go to the product, add that to the sales price book quickly. Let's say for sales price book, I might want to switch it to 5,000 euros. Save. Go back to the quotation. Quickly reload it. Try to add the product. There you go. You have the SL675 system present over there. Just quickly select it. There you go. The option which we have created, it's present out there for the sales rep to see. So you guys have seen how easy was it to configure a product. Now if he wants to select the configuration, and this is required by default because in the product we said it has to be required, right? Now let me check or change the configuration, like what kind of fold flat it is. So you can get all these details while the sales rep is talking to the customer, whether the fold flat should be installed on the left, right, top, bottom, whatever it is. So let's say if it is on both. We save it again, configuration was saved. There you go. The default price has been populated. Now let's talk about complexity. So I am going to go to the view. I'm going to change my view a little bit because single screen cannot hold a lot of options, right? It will be messy for the sales rep or anybody who is using that screen. Now if you want to show different fields, you want to show the, you want to change the view a little bit, you just go to click on pricing and quick save. The columns on the UI which were present earlier are different from the columns which are showing over here. Now we have an additional column called system complexity pricing. So that's how you can change view. You don't have to make a lot of hodgepodge in single view, like putting all those fields out there. Now it's not about just selling the glass. You have to configure what is the height of the glass to be sold, what is the width of the glass to be sold. That's where you can take all these inputs for the customer. Let's say height is 10 feet or it is inches, let's say 100 inches, width maybe 120 inches. Let's say similar kind of glass you have to install 4 different glasses to make an actual foldable glass. So 4 different panels. So if you see, the complexity pricing has automatically changed based on the configuration of the glass, right? So these are all the rules which have been configured in the backend, that if a particular height of the system, or like the price should vary based on the height, based on the width, based on the panels. I'm going to show you like real quick how the rules can be configured easily. That's it. But yeah, if sales rep is not satisfied, you want to maybe change the price, he can just quickly go there, click on the price per feet. Right now the price per feet is 10 euros. Let's say he wants to change it. There you go. All the prices, the complexity, everything changed by inserting in just one number. Everything looks good. He'll probably save it. That's it. Now let me just quickly show you how a rule is going to look like, or whatever rule which we have seen right now, the complexity calculation rule, how it looks in the back end. That's it. That's the rule. I just say on which event it has to be fired, what is the evaluation order, and what is the actual formula. I have written the formula over here, that the height into width into number of panels. So these are the things which makes Salesforce CPQ exceptional. You don't see the ROI in 1 day or 2 days or 1 month or 2 months. You see the ROI in 5 months, 6 months. That how easy what it has become to quote to the customer. Let me show you the ROI which we have seen in the service industry. So this was the ROI what we have seen. We have installed it as a pilot program for 40 installers because they had a hell lot of installers. We just installed it for 40. We interviewed them after 6 months, and 35 of them actually said that it was easy for them to charge to the customer. They could actually do the installation a lot more faster. So these are a few statistics. Ultimately, if the installer is getting the benefit out of it, who's going to get benefited? The company or the customer. So his service and sales division were aligned. Sales rep were able to transform the details and send it to the installers. And ultimately at the end, the annual revenue of the whole organization increased within just 6 months from 4 to 5%. And it's not just based on the last quarter or the last month or last year which we have seen. We have seen the previous trends of like 7-8 years, and we have seen how revenue was getting increased based on the inflation. And that's how we calculated the number of 4 and 5%. So that's a little bit quick introduction on how and what Salesforce CPQ and how you can use it, how easily and quickly you can launch it for the customer. So any questions, guys? So I think since we are running out of time, already 5 minutes late, so I'm done with the sessions. And if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and yeah, any questions you have, I'll be happy to help, not just in here, out there as well. Thank you guys.